I think awareness is like the first sign that you're ready to change. Like, I'm aware of it, because how many times can you do something over and over and like you don't even know you're doing it? And then with awareness, why don't I like that I'm doing this? Why am I missing the mark? Well, first of all, I have to know I'm missing the mark, because if I don't know, I'm not really going to change anything. So I think the more I'm like kind of rewiring my brain and like regulating my emotions, which I didn't know were haywire because I lived like that for so long. Now all of a sudden I'm getting answers. Anxiety, right? With you coaching, or like how I might talk to my wife and not even see it. And now all of a sudden I'm getting that little voice in your head like, is that the right way to go about it? Could we have done this a different way?
Damn.
But I needed to kind of clear my own head, because when it's, when you have the circus in your head.
Guys, before we get started, just want to let you know, if you have any questions for us, please click the link below. You could ask us any questions via email, and we'll get back to you by the end of the episode.
All right, guys, we're here, week 41. We got Matt Trost back. Now, Maddie's here today because I'm going through some shit, and we had a cancellation. And I have found huge value in watching some Instagram videos that Matt put out, and just talking to him. We've gotten pretty close, and I find a real system of support there. But Matt's story is super inspirational, and like I said, I'm going through some stuff, and I just needed to sit down with somebody who's navigated life on his terms. Today, he is crushing it and has overcome adversity. So last time we had spoke, you were telling us about near death and this, that, and the third. And I mean, if you want to expand on that to start, just let's hit where we left off. That would be awesome. Maybe there's some people out there that could hear your story, like I've seen your videos, and it could pull them out of a spot.
Yeah, well, first off, guys, thank you again so much for having me back. The first time was so awesome when I heard that there was a cancel. First of all, I hope whoever was supposed to be on, everything's good.
All good.
Okay, that's all that matters.
Just a scheduling conflict.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's the first thing I had to do. Pete shot me the text. I'm like, okay, how much work can I get done before one to feel comfortable and confident about coming without taking away from any of the businesses or my wife or any of those good things, which I did successfully
That's
today.
so real.
Yeah.
I was feeling the same thing earlier today myself, especially with the holiday tomorrow.
Cramming it all in. Nothing wrong with that, but it does get you that anxiety.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, it'll stress you out. But you're here. You don't seem super stressed. You're not on 15 cups of coffee for the day, so that's a...
Is that a knock at me?
It was a little bit of a shot, bro. I can't believe that I just heard this.
Yeah, before we were recording, I was telling Billy and Matt that I used to drink 12 to 15 cups of coffee a day. And if I could paint the picture a little bit better, about 5 o'clock p.m. or so would be my last one. And I would literally like yawn the whole way through. So it was either hot. But, you know, in the mortgage offices, you got the Keurig, dude.
Yeah.
And like, if coffee's your thing, Keurigs are easy to make. Boom, boom, boom. Have another one. Bam, 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 ripping them all day. But like the one on the way home, like this time of year, like you got to go ice. But sometimes I go hot in the morning.
But he's drinking a hot coffee now. That was the first thing I said to him when he walked back over.
Yeah, so I'm just thinking about like the rides home where this is before I was plunging twice a day. So I would be like so tired from the night before. My brain doesn't stop. I don't get quality sleep. I got this deviated septum in my nose. So I could sleep for 12 hours and wake up feeling exhausted. And we were talking about the seizures and everything, and like I got to one of those questions with my neurologist, and he's like, "What's your caffeine intake like?" I'm like, "Well, you got an 11 out of 10 on here."
About that.
About that.
Bro, that's wild. Now, were you hydrating like water-wise as well at that time? Because I mean, you've always been super active and worked out.
Man, I don't think you could hydrate enough to keep up with that.
That sucks it out of you, man.
Exactly. And we were talking about the perfect storm for me to have a seizure, and it's like lack of sleep, dehydration, stress, burning the candle at both ends, like that coffee component like definitely added into that stuff. But that was another hidden blessing. You know, the guy said tone it back, so now I'm like 3 or 4 a day. Which is probably still too much, but...
Way better.
Isn't that crazy,
though?
like
coffee that much.
Oh, dude, I love coffee, bro. Have you ever seen Kicking and Screaming with Will Ferrell? That's me, bro. Somebody brought me a coffee last night at practice, Bruce Neller. I'm like, dude, I can't have this.
You know what? I'm disappointed I missed last night. We love coming there and distracting you from coaching. We sit in the corner, usually me, our buddy John, whose son is great and is a great friend of mine, and a nice young lady who I know from high school. Her son wrestles there.
They just talk the whole time, bro.
Petey gets so
mad. I'm like borderline autism. when it comes to
You're
sounds.
struggling to
Yeah.
concentrate
Oh, man.
as is,
Yeah.
and here we go. Yeah.
Uh-huh. And you got these 5 and 6 year olds not paying attention for nothing.
And then you got grown-ups in the corner
Nah.
just sitting there laughing.
Nah, the social element works out good. Last night was a lot of fun. You guys would have had a blast. I
Yeah.
was talking about cautions in wrestling, how like if you go before the whistle. So
Yeah.
I was like jokingly doing cautions and like, you know, and then I'm saying, okay, on go. So then I would say, are you going to Wawa? And all the kids would caution, are you going to the mall? Boom, they'd all caution. Everybody was cracking up. But
So you made it fun.
yeah, oh, it was mad fun. It was mad fun. And you know what? Not to keep talking, I know Matt's here, but when we were talking to Vinny Santinello, something really resonated with me that day. He said that he coaches every practice like it's somebody's first day there. And like I told you, the one day I was stressed, I walked out, I felt fine. Nobody really, I don't think, ever feels my negative energy, but I feel it. So I've been plunging right before practice. So I go 3 and 3. So I go 3 in the morning and then 3, which started for the kids really to make sure I was good when I got home. Mortgage industry, work, fatherhood, overwhelming and stressful. Boom, get myself right. So I did that and, felt energized and jolted. And I just really took that with me that coach every practice as if somebody's watching you for the first time. And there were 2 first-timers in there. And then somebody else just hit me up. They're going to be coming on Sunday. So that
I don't know if you
was
heard
really a
this
big
story.
takeaway.
When he walked out that night. I was outside on the phone, and he comes out, and I see him sitting down. He's like stressed, and I was like, "Bro, you want to do some breathing?" And he's like, "Fuck you," and I was like, "Whoa, sorry," but bro, my man didn't miss a beat. He took a second outside, ran back in, and was back to
Right back in the
positive
mix.
beat. Like that's one thing I give both you credit for. Tons of awareness in who you are and. Maddie, I might be wrong, but it seems to me that you have the ability to know where you're at and change with the tools you have, your tone and how you're dealing with things at that moment.
Yeah, I think awareness is like the first sign that you're ready to change.
Yeah.
Like I'm aware of it because how many times can you do something over and over and like you don't even know you're doing it?
Yeah.
And then with awareness, it's like, okay, like why don't I like that I'm doing this? Or why am I missing the mark? Well, first of all, I have to know I'm missing the mark. Because if I don't know, I'm not really going to change anything. So I think the more I'm like kind of rewiring my brain and like regulating my emotions, which I didn't know were haywire because I lived like that for so long.
Right.
Now all of a sudden I'm getting answers like to things, like maybe to how anxiety, right? With you coaching or like how I might talk to my wife and not even see it. And now all of a sudden I'm getting that little voice in your head like, was that the right way to go about it? Like, could we have done this a different way?
Damn.
But I needed to kind of clear my own head because when you have the circus in your head,
Yeah.
you're
It's
probably not
scary
going to be
place,
aware of some of
man.
the things you're doing. You're in survival mode.
Yeah.
The circus is such a great way to put it, and I'm just picturing somebody hanging and flipping
Yeah.
around, the monkey with the drums, just all of it. Just,
Isn't that what it feels like though?
yeah,
Yeah.
it does. Yeah, it does.
Well, you feel like a ping pong ball too because your thoughts are racing on all around.
Yeah.
You're here, you're there, you're back and forth, and you're never getting clarity on one thing.
No.
There's so much shit spiraling.
Yeah.
So it's just like that ping pong ball, back and forth, or sitting in a circus that's
Yeah.
out of control.
And then what happens in that scenario, right, guys? Like, we literally have this circus going on in our mind that nobody else can see. And then somebody comes up to you, anyone, somebody at work, a loved one, a kid, with something straight up normal. And it's like you got the circus in your mind, so like something that wouldn't necessarily hit you.
Puts you
Sometimes
over the
I'll
top.
get there with work where, I don't know, I won't take some time for myself, whatever it may be, where I'm doing a lot better job at like Sabbath told us, not responding right away.
Yeah.
So I've been doing these walks in the morning now that my wife is home with the kids. My morning routine is so much different. It used to be straight chaos, which is fine, and I appreciate it, but it take me a little while to calm down. So then the other day, I had 5 different work-related text messages at 7:30 in the morning. So, but I went for my walk and I had some coffee. Again with the coffee. I went for my walk, listening to the birds chirping, took a few deep breaths, and I got back to everyone with much better energy than I would have with the abrupt,
Yeah. You're not responding with emotion. You've cleared your mind. You found
Cleared
some
it for a
peace.
second.
Now, that's one thing that both of you also have shown me. So, in the last week or so, maybe a week and a half, well, I guess 2 weeks because I was away last week,
Yeah.
I've told this story to 3 people, Casey being the first one. Casey came to my house a couple weeks ago, and I started cold plunging at night. He was there. I did my first one in the backyard with him. I have the neighborhood kids all come over. They all want to do it now. But Casey was talking to me about it, and I said to him and my wife, we were sitting in the backyard, and I said, Pete said when he first did his cold plunge, he needed to feel better. I said, I don't know if I'm going to feel better, but I know I need to feel better.
Yeah.
So I got in. And I felt better. I felt a little more at peace. I slept amazing that night.
Good.
And we've been doing them every night since, except for when I was away. Johnny Ryan's coming over tonight.
Yeah,
with JP
what are you doing?
Plunge.
You doing ice bags?
Yeah.
Okay. How did it go with the 5?
Well, it was good.
This time of year, it was crazy, dude. I was getting 100 pounds at the liquor store every day.
Last time I bought 80 pounds of ice.
Are you laughing at that, Ev?
Well,
Why am I so extreme?
We started with 40.
I need to talk less about what my life entails.
No, but I get that because we went from 40 to 60 to 80.
There you go.
And,
see, Ev, he's only 20 pounds off.
Yeah, but I'm putting it all in one shot now.
Yeah.
And
yeah, this time of year is crazy.
Yeah,
so
it's warm
I
out.
have this chiller, but I had another guy that I found that basically is like New Jersey's chiller guy.
Okay.
So I bought his chiller. My other chiller from Nuvio, I have
broke,
2
right?
chillers at my house.
But didn't one of them break and you were
One of
trying
them
to find
broke.
a part?
I have another one. You could have it.
Oh.
Yeah.
there we
You
go.
set the temperature, bang, set it and forget it.
I'm down.
And then you could modify. You don't have to go extreme as hell like me.
Yeah.
Modify it a
What
little
temperature
bit.
do you do?
Don't be extreme like me, but this morning was 41. So,
It does. It's,
yeah.
I think when we were at Thrive, I think it was like
It's probably 36,
36,
38.
39.
You
Yeah.
broke.
Yeah.
I think I saw you sitting there like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
No problem.
Yeah, some things, it's funny how some people just excel. It's not like any rhyme or reason to it. Like, I might excel at that.
Yeah,
where
but
you,
that takes real mental toughness.
I
You might not
guess,
realize
yeah,
it.
Yeah.
He might have been feeling like he needed some answers too, though,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah,
Maybe
well,
he was
that's what
finding those answers in there. You never know what's going on upstairs.
Yeah, I don't know a lot of people who don't have a need to. You have to have a need to want to change. I mean,
Yeah.
maybe not. Maybe some people just wake up and say, "Hey, I'm pretty good, but I want to be better." That's great.
Right.
But like for me, every time I've changed, like big time, unfortunately, there had to be a lot of regression or bottoms. You
Yeah.
know, and sometimes the bottoms in my life have been like near death bottoms.
Yeah,
but
let's
like
stay
the
back to
best
that,
things that
'cause
ever
that's where we
happened to me
ended.
were from those.
Yeah, sorry we sidetracked.
Yeah.
No, that's fine.
I love the chemistry here, man.
Yeah.
I just love it's like
Well,
I
we're
feel like
just
we're
shooting the
talking in
shit.
our
We're
group chat.
friends,
Yeah.
You know, the only difference is there's a camera and some lights. Big deal.
Yep. And we got Evan laughing at every stupid comment that I do between my coffee and taking my over icing.
Yeah, the ice really becomes like an expense report item. Put it on a P&L. Make sure you know you have enough money for that 100 pounds a day.
I was going, literally it was like $30 a day. $30 a day times 30 days is what, 900. The chiller costs 500. So that's what I was telling you. My break even is like, what, freaking 2 weeks I'm breaking even on my chiller.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know?
just by that. And you're
Yeah.
only a month into the summer.
That's it. And I always say that there's another side to all this stuff. So like, yeah, that is an expense, but it's an expense on something that I know makes me feel better. I could be spending the same $30 at the bar every day, getting my beers every single day,
Instead, you're
$30
doing
bucks.
something
Instead, it's like,
positive
hey,
with it. Yeah.
I get justified a good spending all day. But yeah, it got to a point where it was like, okay, it's time for the chiller.
Yeah.
It's time for the chiller. I'm in it every day. And then once, I only missed that one day.
Now, how
all
did
year.
you feel missing?
I my stomach was all jacked up. So
Yeah.
I wasn't, my whole house had like the
Yeah,
stomach
no,
bug.
no, but
and they
like-
all threw up.
But
and
did you feel like anxious?
I felt okay. I
Yeah.
felt okay just because I was so out of it,
Yeah.
You were
already
I don't want to
beat
get too
up.
graphic on what that day, but I was beat up.
Yeah.
My stomach was beat up.
Yeah.
My stomach was beat up, so I was like down and out, sleeping tired.
Yeah.
Now, if you're talking just a normal day that I missed, I don't even want to know what that feels like, honestly. It's been
And now
so
every day
good.
you're doing it twice a day?
Yeah.
Are you
But,
still
but,
cold
but I
plunging
keep
daily?
modifying
No. So I don't have a chiller.
it. Right.
And I was going through the ice, and it was
Yeah.
to the point where I'm like, I threw my hands up in the air. I'm like, it's crazy that I have all these tools now, and I will definitely go back to
Right.
cold plunging. I went to Thrive last week just because it'd been like a month.
Yeah.
But you
But-
have other stuff to...
Yeah. So I
Yeah.
do have the other tools, but like I think a big thing is what you just said too. Like anytime I ever change was like usually based on motivation. So I'd be all in. But the first time I missed something or the first time a hardship came, I crumbled.
Right.
This is so different from the other times because like, first of all, I give myself some grace. Like I don't have a cold plunge as a chiller. Doesn't mean I'm regressing. Doesn't mean I'm not still on a self-help journey. I found other tools to supplement that.
Yep.
And like, I'm not scared about going back to it where I always like every diet I was ever on. The first day I cheated, it meant like, I'm off the rails. I can't do this. I can't believe I missed. Now it's like, no, like this is what I do.
Yeah.
Like I run now. Who would have guessed I run? Like I run no matter what. If I miss a day, guess what? I'm running tomorrow.
But you also don't run a little bit.
Bro.
You run.
Bro, he left here last time. When was that we had you here?
That had to be 3 months ago. 4
Yeah.
months
I
ago.
think it was in
Dude,
March
he
I
left
started.
here and said, I'm going to start running.
Well,
and
came
he
to
ran
Leeds.
the next day.
He came to Leeds. And I mean, it was shortly
it was
thereafter.
Robbie, actually, that really.
Yeah.
Good.
And
got
he's
me
like,
to-
I want to do a marathon.
Now he's doing a marathon.
Robbie was like, all right, let's
Yo.
go. And next thing you know, Maddie's gone from I want to run a marathon to running, 10 miles now the other day?
Yeah,
Just
most
did
of
10
everything's
miles.
11. Yeah, so
Yeah.
far. Yep.
Bro.
So, remember I was telling you I didn't necessarily need a bib?
Yes.
Well, I had like this, I was either dreaming or it was like right before bed that I was like visualizing that like we had a clock at the reservoir and like our kids were there and there was a bunch of like water and everything like at the one spot, like in the front. And we had it mapped out that the 1.2, we kind of put like a piece of tape there. And then we basically just did 5 laps plus the 1.2 and had the marathon right there. And like, it was awesome, dude. Like, I don't know if I was sleeping or awake, but like we were all there. Our kids were there. They're handing us drinks.
So cool. Yep.
Yeah.
That was a dream, or you did it?
It was either a dream. It wasn't it's not a reality yet.
It's
but like
gonna
I
be.
want to make it a reality.
Got it.
Because I told Maddie because the full marathon that he's doing is on a Sunday. And between football season in October and the wrestling club, Sundays aren't really conducive for me. So I'm trying to find a Saturday one. But I just think that's amazing that you like started running. You did 10 miles the other day. You've done 11 miles. You signed up for the full marathon.
What did you start at?
I couldn't run it. I tried the first time I ran on the treadmill, I made it 5 minutes and 20 seconds.
I remember those videos.
Jogging, and I just had to and then I started just like, jog 1 minute, walk 1 minute because I couldn't. My legs, my shins, my
everything.
legs, my breath, forget about it.
And
Like,
now you're just crushing it.
Yeah, I am. You know what?
Listen,
I am crushing
saw
it.
when we
Yep.
went to the reservoir with Robbie. Granted, I rode a bike and you guys ran. Bro, I mean, you did what I can't do. You're doing, maybe.
And that's the big thing.
But
Look at
you're
all
also-
the things you said you couldn't do that you're
know.
starting to do.
So many times.
We all have it in us, and
Yeah.
it's cool. Maybe
But most of the reason I'm doing it is because you set an example and showed
go.
me it could be done. It's easy for me to look at Pete and be like, I can't do that because since I've known Pete, he's been running. I met you. You weren't running
That's
marathons.
it.
Not at all.
Now you are.
Now he's got the
Yeah.
den. And honestly, dude, that's such a great point, and that's just so relatable, and like that's everything.
Yeah.
Like we can't just compare ourselves to the guy who's got decades of reps in something and say, "Oh, I can't do this." That's why I say, don't even worry about my 6 minutes a day. Get your 17 seconds.
Yeah.
Get your 2 minutes. Start there.
Start somewhere, and
Yeah.
you started somewhere. So that's why when I said to you before, like it's inspirational talking to you. A fitness journey, we're kind of in a similar spot. When I started, I was off the couch and I was nervous about getting back into shape. Now I'm nervous about running. You got back into shape. You were nervous about running, but you did it. I'm riding a bike at the reservoir and
That's
banging
cool
that
too,
out.
though.
But I would like to run, and I know it's possible because I've seen you do it. Not that, if you could do it, I could do it, but you showed me that it's possible to have the fortitude to push through.
I love it.
Yeah, no, it is. And first of all, I had to like mentally, like it's all mental. Like I had to be able to tell myself, like I traditionally, before the rewiring, thank you, Dave Seidenberg, just another shameless plug, but before being rewired, I have probably the worst I'm sure I'm not unique. I'm sure a lot of people have self-confidence issues, but I was the one, like, you tell me I could do something, I'll give you 10 reasons why I can't.
Yeah.
I had to first like kind of fix upstairs, right? Emotionally, spiritually, mentally, to be like, why, instead of like, I can't, like, why not me? Why can't I do this?
Yeah.
Like, what are the reasons? There are no reasons. Like, will it be hard? And like, that's why I don't, I like post on I post on the social media platform some of the runs and some of the posts, and like there's been some people who have told me like, oh, don't you think you're being egotistical? Like, don't you think you're trying to show? Like, I'm like, I really had to think about that, and I think if I would have done it any other time, it would have been egotistical. Look at me,
Right.
Now I really don't. I don't give a shit, to be honest with you. I'm doing this because there's somebody like I'm only 4 months into this, so there's definitely somebody just like me sitting on the couch saying like, I can't run on the treadmill for 5 minutes. Like, no, like you can.
Yep.
Like I can. And like, if you see that I'm just a normal dude, like I'm not coming as a guru. I'm the opposite. Like I'm trying to learn too. I post some of those videos hoping somebody might comment on it and like give me like some more advice, man.
Get
I'm all about
right.
it. Yeah, the door's open, man. Like I want to take it all in.
Yeah.
So like that's the cool part about this whole journey. You could share it with other people too.
That's awesome.
You're doing
awesome.
a good job with the Instagram videos.
Yeah.
Like consistency and stuff like that. And I always try to comment. So you know.
Oh, thank you.
And I love how vulnerable he is on there too. And
it makes it okay.
Yeah.
It makes it okay for me to feel like I could be vulnerable.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know.
And then I'm doing something right if that's the way you feel. Because I really had to check my motives. I had a good friend say that to me. And like he loves me too. So he cares about me. So I'm like, all right, I want to be able to take what people come in, whether I think it's right or not, and really think about it. Like, let me think about this. Am I being egotistical? And then I started thinking about all these conversations I had with people that messaged me. Some people were helping me.
See?
Some people, I told you about my friend, a kid that I like ran with my whole life. We hadn't talked. I hate when people, like we hadn't talked in years, but like we were super close. He hit me up on one of the videos. He's like, you know what? I'm trying to get sober too. Do you have any advice? No, but this is the one. Like this shows me, like if there was any ego, this humbled me real quicker. 4 days later, the guy commits suicide. So I can't save people. That's not what these videos are for. I'm doing what I'm doing. I really hope you get some, like, I got to have a conversation with somebody that I hadn't had a conversation with in 10 years. And I got to tell him I love him. He got to tell me that he loved me. And it wasn't his time. I'm not God. I was never going to get him sober anyway. That's not how it works. But the fact that I was able to, through the video, I had a conversation with an old friend.
Yeah.
Well, and, find comfort in the fact that he felt comfortable enough with your journey.
Definitely.
To reach out. Now, he might not have been ready to receive the help at that point or, follow a little bit of guidance or tools that you could give him. But he knew that you were leading by example. And you have to take comfort in that.
Yeah.
When people can reach out, they're not reaching out because you're, this big famous Instagrammer who's promising the world. You're Matt.
Yep.
And you are a guy that's super relatable who just is trying to spread his word and his experience, and people are comfortable to reach out with that.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So you're making an impact. It's not egotistical.
It goes back to like trying to be your like authentic self. Like I went through that with Dave. Is like, what kind of man, like write down the 5 qualities you'd want to be like, right? And I write those 5 qualities down and like, all right, take a look at your life now. Like, is it aligned? Is there work to be done? And I was like, I got to admit to you, when we first started this, I'm like, I want these attributes, but I'm none of these 5 yet. But it gave me a path. And then all of a sudden, I started becoming my authentic self more and more. So like how I think of it is like, if I would have started posting and I have nothing, like that's like false ego, right? I want you to think I'm doing good.
True.
But now, like, no, I'm working towards it. And the cool part is I'm not even, I'm just scratching the surface. But I know that it makes me feel like my authentic self. Like what makes me feel good among some of the other characteristics is helping others. I've always liked helping others. And when I'm helping someone else, what am I not doing? I'm not thinking about me. Because just like everybody else, I'm a selfish motherfucker. Like I could be real selfish, but if I'm helping others. Yeah, and that's okay
I was
to
just
a point.
thinking, not to cut you guys off, but Danny from Mindset Made just shared one of his videos the other day.
Yeah, I saw that.
And I thought that was super cool because the next thing I was going to ask you is paint the picture a little bit of your daily habits with Seidenberg. I see it on Instagram a lot. I know that there's some gratitude and stuff going on there, and I know that what Danny's doing is relatively similar in some aspects. So what does it kind of look like?
Yeah, it's definitely a far cry from what it was. So like how Dave explained it to me, like he made it simple. Like sometimes simple and easy are two different. They both could be true, but things that are simple aren't always easy.
Yep.
But he laid out a really simple blueprint. Like this is how your brain is. We need to rewire it. So a lot of it's going to be probably the opposite of how you are. So like the best morning routine. This is stuff like this is what I love, man. I didn't come up with this. Somebody told me, and it friggin' works. And I could say it. So he always tells me like the best morning routine starts at night. So I'll start at night with what I do. I'll do the 3-2-1 technique, which is, and I'm not perfect at this.
He was telling us about this.
Yep. You try and stop eating 3 hours before bed. I've always been somebody who really struggled with sleep. Taking even sober, so like I can't take any narcotics, but I was taking melatonin, like anything I could to try and sleep. I've not taken a melatonin in like 3 months.
You try the mushroom extracts?
Yep. So it's the 3-2-1 technique. I'm done eating 3 hours before bed. I'm not gonna lie to you, sometimes it's 2, but I really try and make it for the 3 hours. 2 hours I stop drinking, 1 hour no more screen time, take a shower 60 to 90 minutes before bed, a hot shower, because then your body like wants to regulate and get yourself colder, you'll fall asleep quicker.
Cool.
And then I do the I want to say this right, reishi
Okay.
and the lion's mane at night.
Nice.
And I sleep. I got like my sleep scores. I'm like, I like crush them. I'm like excited in the morning. I used to be so scared. I'm like, oh, below average again.
Yeah.
Now I'm like, let's go.
Those.
Let me see. Let me see what I'm sleeping at. Yeah, I sleep through the night now. And then
is that the Garmin?
Yes, this is the Garmin.
I have the same one.
Yeah, this is for like it was really helping me for running because like. See, I don't know any of this stuff.
Sleep.
Yeah,
that's right.
Robbie told me about Garmin, and he said because you, so that was a hookup. I should be thanking you.
Psst, listen, man, just a little bit of a tool. Granted.
There's a thing that pops up if you're stressed on there.
Yeah.
After I had the seizure, I was wearing it,
and
I was telling Abby all these different times throughout the day that bother me, and I say, hey, when we're home with the kids and my phone rings and everyone's screaming at the exact same time, I get super stressed. Phone rings, pick up the phone, people are outside. I'm like, see, I felt it. It's reassuring that what I was telling you, I was feeling.
You
like,
know you're not making it up.
Yeah.
It's legitimate.
Feel
You're
it.
feeling.
Yep. It goes back to the awareness. Like now I know what the pinpoint problem is. Like now how do I fix it?
Yeah. Now how do I fix it?
Yep.
You know, Pete's done a good job though of finding what works. I mean, independent of this podcast, you were on a pretty good self-improvement journey up until we started. Now maybe you've found a little bit more in a couple different pieces, but you had some great self-awareness. I don't want to make this all about telling Maddie how great he is, but you were like shoved in the fucking fire and you had to come out and figure it out. You know, you did a good job, Pete.
I appreciate that big time, man.
You know, listen, anybody who's struggling and feels like they need to feel better, like Pete has said prior, bro, reach out to Pete. He's been there and he is an example, or Matt as well, of overcoming. You know, I'm feeling some shit now, and I'm lucky that I have these guys around, or guys like them too, with great examples. I mean, feel free to reach out to me. I'm always here to listen. But these guys set the bar in self-improvement, and they're crushing it in every way.
I appreciate that, man. You know?
Well, think about the example you are. Not just to me or to anybody that watches this or has been there. Look at all the kids that look up to you. You know, and think about where they're going to be when they're 30. Knowing Coach Pete's techniques or having your influence in their life at an early age to help shape them. Because I didn't have a Coach Pete in my life. Everybody was super hard, yelling, screaming, different time. You're much different.
Neither did I.
Yeah, but look at you now.
That's why Coach Pete was created, you know, because I always try to fill in whatever I thought maybe I needed, and I try to give them that. Yeah. But yeah, no, thank you so much for that, Billy. And it really does truly, I'm so passionate about this stuff, and I'm so caring and, you know, loving towards others. And I hate to see people going through hard times or struggling, like Matt and I said last time, that, you know, you kind of need to. But if you can give somebody a few different strategies that are going to kind of help them navigate and feel a little bit better than you felt, and streamline that process for them to get out of the, you know, pity party or, you know, the circus like you guys are talking about.
You're provoking a thought about self-improvement.
Yeah.
You know, like I said, I see Matt and I know it's possible for me. People see you and hear your story, they know it's possible for them or both of you, or me to an extent. You're provoking that process, and that's the first step, right, is to assume or think that it's time for you to help yourself. So if nothing else, we're starting a conversation for people, and that's the first step.
100%, man.
You know, I want to revisit what a couple things that you just said. So, like, one, we talk about, I want to save people, right? Like, I hope that somebody only has to exactly. I hope that everybody only has to feel half the pain that I felt to get to where I was. But I would have never gotten to where I am without, like, I'm talking some real bottoms. You said something earlier. I really just enjoy listening to you guys sometimes. So I'm just like kind of listening to see what you guys are saying. And you said, you're like, I don't want to paraphrase, like, a lot of good came out of your seizure. It unless you rewire your brain, nobody says that. But it did. But it's the truth. What I'm saying is, you're able to see through something really bad. We talked about it one day on the phone, and we've had this conversation too. Remember, we started talking about anxiety, and we're like, oh, I wish I didn't have so much. And then all of a sudden, the conversation kind of turns, and we're like, you know what? I'm pretty grateful for my anxiety. I would never, if you would have asked me 5 months ago, like, I would have said, get it out of my system.
Right.
However
Remove
possible.
it completely from my stomach and my heart and my mind.
But you need those things. So as much as
what makes you who you are.
Yes. I don't want to, I also don't want to take away somebody's bottom is what I'm saying, because when they do hit it, they'll hear these things. They might mock us now. They might not. And that's okay, because I did the same thing. Oh, they're corny. Oh, that'll never work. Every single one. But when it starts to hurt bad enough, it's like, can I start to believe? Yeah. When it starts to hurt really bad, and they're going to go back and they're going to be able to hear you guys and listen to one of these podcasts. And that's when it'll come. So we got to let people hit their bottom. I needed to hit the bottoms that I hit.
And guys, the bottom for everybody could be so different.
I
mean, you know, whether it's a substance abuse struggle, mental health struggle, everything looks different. The struggle's different. The bottom is different. And the top and rise back to glory is different too. You know, so don't set a standard based on what you hear from me, Pete, or Matt. Know that you have to be self-aware enough to recognize your bottom and take action.
Because I'm almost visualizing like the bottom of the ocean, and like what I felt and thought was the bottom, like it just started getting really dark. Like there was it could have been way, way lower for me. It felt like that was the bottom, but if you look at it from a much larger scale, I was in the fucking kiddie pool doing the backstroke. Everything was okay. It just didn't necessarily feel that way. But not to me. To me, it felt like shit. I can't.
We don't want to minimize people's bottoms either. Because somebody's bottom might not sound outwardly as bad as my bottom, but to them, if they're hurting that bad that they were willing to change, I'll never be able to know how you felt.
Exactly.
So that feeling that you felt might have been 10 times worse than how I felt. I don't know. You know, we're not God. We won't figure that out.
You also don't know how everybody else's struggle was before. So like, you take somebody who's had life on easy street, the most minimal thing to somebody who's actually had real struggle could be their bottom at that time. You know? So like what might seem like a Tuesday to me could be the end of the world for Jim down the street. You know, maybe Jim had a much different life than
me. Well, to that point, Rob Seaman called me the other day about this shoe drive that he's got going on in Asbury, and I really want to bring Mason.
Okay.
And I want him to be able to see, because we're talking about money this morning, and just Abby and I were talking, asking her how much she has, blah, blah, blah. And he's like chiming into our conversation. And I just want him to see the pure joy for a new pair of shoes. Like, you don't know, thankfully, my son, you don't know what it feels like to not have any shoes, but I want you to see this. Like, you need to see this. So like I said before, there's another side to all this stuff. So Rob, sent me the link and different things, and he said, you don't necessarily have to volunteer, but I think you would really like it. And we brought your name up, and I'm like, Billy's, he's busy and different things. He's got a lot going on, but I want to go not just for myself. I think it's the 13th. Is that a Saturday? I want to say it's Saturday the 13th. I could be wrong on the date, but I think it's next Saturday.
Saturday is the 13th.
Yeah. I actually have the flyer. I'll send it to you. But I want to go
Nick
there
too, because it's a sneaker thing. Maybe Nick could get involved.
There you go. I want to go there just to be a part of it, but I really want to bring Mason, 9-year-old boy, get a little bit of an idea what's really going on out there, and how grateful these kids are going to be.
Max and Mace are a little older, like Rosie and Josephine are sheltered.
Yeah, that's the thing. Carter wouldn't get it yet.
You got young kids too.
Yeah. Max, your daughter's adorable, by the way.
Max will understand, like, bro, you live a blessed life. Like, you want a new bike, whatever it is, you got it. Like, and my kids are spoiled to a point. I mean, I try to make them earn stuff. But he doesn't understand that, like, just because you want a new car or Matchbox car, you get it. Like, some people still got to save for that. As small as that seems, like, you have to realize that and you have to accept that. And if he's never exposed to that side of life, I'm hurting him, and I'm doing him a disservice, because when he's 20, he's not going to be able to function. Yeah. So I agree with you. Maybe I'll bring Max out there.
That would be cool. Yeah. That would be cool. Give these little boys from the suburbs a little bit of idea what really goes on out here.
Maybe we could turn that into, if we have enough time to figure it out, a Modern Man podcast thing. We could go there and then hit Thrive.
That'd be awesome. I would love that. Maddie, you wanna join us?
As long as I got to talk to the wife.
Yeah.
We're day by day right now, man. We got
hopefully
that's
right?
the
3
thing.
weeks.
We gotta be careful where you
well,
got
it
this
should
guy.
be. Yeah, we got 3 weeks. So technically, after tomorrow, we have like the. What do they say in your line of business? The clear to close? Well, we're the clear to give birth. Like, it would be a safe birth anytime after Friday. But the due date's not actually till August 2nd.
That is absolutely hilarious, dude.
Yeah.
So you got 3 business days.
Yeah, exactly.
Days after they call you with the clear to close.
Baby.
How are you feeling closing in on having another one?
Man, I'm not going to lie. Like, I tell this to my wife, too. Like, I don't know if it's just me or all guys. Like, it is a little different. Like, she carries that baby for 9 months. So she was a mom the day that we saw that pregnancy test. Like, for our second kid. For me, I go to, and I love my wife and I love my family. I'm so pumped. Like, we go to see the baby right on the screen. Oh, that's great. And then I go and I work for 12 hours and it's kind of out of sight, out of mind.
It is.
You're not connected to it.
Exactly.
I wasn't
now,
connected to any of my kids for the first probably 2 years.
It's just starting now for me. And it's only because it's like our duties. First of all, I shouldn't say that. Everybody has different duties.
But you're like painting rooms, putting cribs together.
Making sure that everything's ready. Do we have the baby
It's not emotion.
Making sure your wife is okay. And dude, I watched you in your backyard. Like, I'm definitely like I take it all in. I'm very observant. I always have been. But, dude, I watched you work that party, dude, and I texted you after. Like, it was super impressive, dude. You were smiling. Like, I don't know how you felt internally while you're on the grill, making sure everything else is okay. But, like, dude, you were smiling. You were greeting everybody. You were cooking. Like, you were doing a lot. You ended up in the pool. You're playing with my kids. Like, dude, you did a lot that day, and I got an inside track on like a 3-hour time frame on like what you're like at the house. Like I know who you are as a person. It was great, dude. It was great to watch. It was great to watch, and and she's pregnant, and it's like, dude, she's out there, she's hot. Like, what are you gonna do, dude? Make her freaking pregnant self, get the food ready for everybody. Like you made it. Like I could tell that like. You probably put your wife, and I know how those parties get. You know how they get, dude. There's a lot of build up on party day, bro. And like stressful. The kid's birthday, it's a freaking first birthday. Was everybody stressing? No, it's like it's got to be perfect. Yeah. And I know you were getting the house ready.
Well, look, that's what I was going to say. And first of all, thank you. And like, I'm learning now, like, not to beat myself up. Like, I could take thank you so much, and I think I did kill it. I think I did. But remember, just a few short hours before,
I know.
I text P. I was like, I don't want to sound ungrateful or anything, but like, I just. Like a big text, like venting. It was, my wife was perfect. She's 8 months pregnant. She's not sleeping. It's hot. It's windy. It looks like it's going to rain. She wasn't exactly super pumped. And like, here I am trying to like.
Dude, if you were a female and you were that pregnant, how pumped would you be about anything, bro? I'd be pumped about cake. Nothing else. Like.
Exactly. But I'm getting like overwhelmed. I'm human, and that's okay. Now I get to see like. I have tools for that, right? I text Pete. I take a second. I just went outside by myself. I was like, everything's done, as it's going to be.
That's it.
And like when you said, you're like, how were you internally? I can actually say before overwhelmed. And I'm okay with that.
Before the party.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Worked on my tools. Saw the bigger picture. But once all that love and like family, friend, like you got to remember, I had my mom and dad there. I had a friend that Joey Troust, I've been friends with since I was
He's a great guy.
6 years old. Yeah,
He's a great guy.
He always says, like, we're adults now. Stop introducing me as 2-time state champ Joey Troust. But it was never going to be me. So, like, that's my claim to fame. Like, Joey.
And the last name is strikingly similar.
Yeah, Troust and Trost.
How many letters are you off there? Like 1A or something?
Yeah. No, but it's close. It's close.
Yeah. Oh, that's right.
Yeah, to see like from there to like you, like to you, one of my newest, but like somebody I really consider like a close friend, like they're all under one roof. You don't get that very much. And like I'm just looking around the party and like I'm taking things in. I'm watching your son do how old is he? He did like
Carter.
He did like 15 front flips. Like no fear. Landed on his back sometimes. Sometimes on his feet, just ripping them.
He's 4.
Yep.
He was killing those front flips.
Oh my God. Watching Mason get, man, it was like, I got to talk to, I've never met your wife before. I felt like I've known her forever. Like
Abby's super sweet.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Abby and I were talking about you on the way home. And, I told Abby, I read your text message out loud.
Yeah.
Like on the way.
Yeah.
No. And I was just like, oh yeah, I know how Matt's feeling right now. And she was like, Well, like, she went right away to, like, defensive woman. Like, you didn't say anything bad about your wife, but she's like, how do you think she feels? And I'm like, no, you're totally like, I get it. I'm just telling you, like, what my friend's saying. Like, we don't know exactly what you guys think as ladies, but you don't know exactly how we feel. Like, I know what this guy is feeling. Like, when you got a party coming up and you got to get the tables ready and you got your list and she's still asking you, I'm like, yeah, I know. I didn't fucking mow the lawn yet. I know it's on the list. I know you can't see the list, but it's in my head. I know I have to do it. I feel it.
I'll get it done. I promise.
Exactly. But before that, I told Abby when we got the gift or the invitation, I said, you know, we got invited to my friend Matt's house. It's down in Manahawkin, which isn't too far from our house, but we always have shit going on, as you guys do on the weekends, and sometimes there's multiple party invites and you got to kind of talk things out. This was a real easy sell because I said, hey, listen, we got this invitation. This is my buddy Matt. Matt actually prayed for friends. And once I said that to her, she didn't know you. She didn't watch the podcast. She didn't know anything. And we put it on the calendar that day. And then leading up to it, she's like, I'm really looking forward to meeting this guy. And then, like, after we left, I was like, see what I was saying? She's like, yeah, you could just tell, like, dude, you were all smiles. Your dad's got the same energy you do, which was
the grandkids in the pool.
Yeah, he was right there in the pool with the kids, and he's smiling and talkative, and just like a really positive jolt of energy. The same vibe that you have.
Yeah. Man, I know we talked about it in the last pod, but like, because now it's grown. Now you got to remember that was 3 months ago. Like,
right.
Now how close I feel to you guys 3 months later is even, it makes 3 months ago seem like nothing. But like, I'll never forget, like, just so everybody knows, I have friends. I just have no friends down in South Jersey. I'm like, what am I, I'm moving to this place. I don't know anybody. I'm like, and it's hard to find people.
Tough.
Well, we discussed that last night, though.
Yes, exactly.
For everybody, we talked. I told Matt, I said, in a time where he said that he was praying for friends and we showed up at Thrive, maybe I needed him to enter my life as my friend as well. I got a ton of acquaintances, but I don't have a ton of close friends that I can reach out to. Like, I'm comfortable with Pete to reach out and say I'm struggling or give me some help, or Matt now. So as much as his prayer was answered, maybe mine, without me actually asking for it, was too. So
Definitely.
Divine intervention a little bit. But, you said you didn't want people to think you have no friends. Maybe I have no friends that needed Maddie. But either way, everybody it worked out for.
And then on top of that, the tribe has continued because then you met Robbie Leaks, who's your guy. Yep. And then I feel like there's been some other people that you've been able to connect with.
Sidey.
Over the course of the Sidey. Yep. Oh, so you weren't involved with Sidey when you last came on.
I had just started.
He met him
I was probably a couple weeks in.
So you were a few weeks into Interchamp LLC when you came on a few months ago.
Yep.
You met because that was your first encounter with Dave. Was when we were at Thrive, right?
Yeah, that was the first time I ever met him. I think I saw his Instagram before. I wasn't even following.
Yeah,
but it's crazy how like we have the Thrive Day. Mm-hmm. And then
all the pieces along.
Yep, we all start clicking. But like Robbie's another one. Like, again, another shameless plug. Like, if you're in the area,
I love Robbie.
Yeah, So he's the one who looked at me when we went for the workout, because you were the one who hooked that up. He's like, you should do a marathon. I don't even know the guy. I'm like, yeah, okay. And I think he was expecting me to say, he's like, for real? I'm like, yeah, I'll try. I don't know if I'll do it, but I'll try. That guy owns and operates his own really successful, and he's a great trainer. Like, I would pay him as much money as you'd ask to do these things. And I do, I do the group classes, and I would never do it for free. But he comes with me on runs. Like, this is a guy that doesn't know. Like, I just met him a couple months ago. He's basically training, and I went and did flooring for him. He tried to. I'm like, don't give me $1. Mm-hmm. But like those kind of people, like, I didn't just pray for friends. I wanted a certain kind of friends, and like I couldn't even imagine. God just said, I'm gonna answer your prayer times 2. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's amazing the people that he's put in my life. Like, that just. It's like I've went from having no friends to like brothers, like, in this area.
So Robbie's like that though. Like, when Robbie takes to you, he takes to you, and he's got a very busy schedule. He starts training at 5 a.m. And he goes all night, but he still has found time, especially knowing what I'm going through. He keeps texting me, calling me nonstop just to check in. And every time I have the same response when he texts me, just you checking in is all I needed. That's enough right now. But he is one of the most genuine people that I've encountered, especially because I started our relationship. This was strictly business.
What brought you there? Oh, yeah. Sorry.
So I did 30 days at LA Fitness to prove to myself that I would dedicate.
Okay.
And
what planted the seed with Robbie and whatnot, though?
So I saw videos of him working with kids from AYF.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
In my mind,
that
for me...
That might have been Mason's group.
It was Mason's group.
No way.
But
see?
How full circle that's something.
But now I say
crazy.
to myself, this guy is kind of following the model that I have. He's reaching out to the youth. He's working with kids. He's doing things in the community.
Wow.
If I'm going to do something on a personal training level or explore this, I'm going to start there.
Okay.
So I went in. We talked. It's an intimidating process to me coming off of a couch and just getting back in things.
Right.
He trains professional athletes. Like he's the real deal. So now he does this full evaluation.
Mm-hmm.
I missed the email though where he told me we're basketball shorts. So I went in there with like pants on, like sweatpants. I'm in there in my boxers walking around while he's taking measurements and checking my motions because he dials in your workout specific to you. So our relationship started strictly as business. And over time, we have blossomed into a really great support system for each other and an amazing friendship. So I knew you connecting with him would lead you to have a similar experience with me because those are the only kind of people I want in my life.
That's awesome.
Are like-minded, solid people. You entered my life. You were able to link up with somebody else in my life because you guys are the same, because you are what I'm looking for in my life right now.
Dude, that's how I feel about Nate Head. Oh. Nate and I continue to talk and everything. And like every time I'm over there, when I was just at Certified for the oil change and now the Kia is over at Raceway Kia, him and Zach drove me to my dad's house. I've been driving my dad's Ranger around. My dad's so blue collar, he's got 2 pickup trucks. So I was just like, oh, I don't know. I kept telling Zach, I need a loaner. Why
didn't he give you
it was a Monday. I'm like,
Tesla
I can't stay here. I don't care about the fucking car.
But
I'll pay for it. I don't care.
There.
We talked about that.
Oh.
Zach's main priority was making sure that I got it to Kia.
Yeah.
And I kept downplaying it. I was so he stayed very stern with me because I kept saying, give me a loaner, give me a loaner, give me a loaner. And he goes, you need to have this conversation with Kia right now. I go, here, take my phone. You're Pete Reilly. You talk to Kia because I can't handle this right now.
Were you stressed that day? Because I feel like
it was a Monday.
Yeah.
And you know how I feel about Mondays. I like to come out of the gate. And so I wasn't stressed. Actually, Scott looked like he saw a ghost when he saw the state that my vehicle was in for me. So I said, Scott, you better change your face. It's going to be fine. I don't even care. So that was my line to Scott. So then after that, he comes back over. They're evaluating the vehicle. They realize it's not good. Something was blinking. Same face again. I'm like, Scott, you better change your face, bro. I don't care. I don't care about the vehicle. Like, literally, what do you want me to do? Like, it is what it is. If it costs X amount of dollars, then that's what it costs. And, like, so I texted Scott later on that night, and he was cracking up. I was like, yo, change that face. And I'm like, honestly, Scott, your face, like, I already knew that you were an amazing soul, but the way your face looked, like how bad you felt for me that there was about to be this like possible financial burden that was going to be a big time expense for my family. Like, dude, I felt that. Like when I was saying change your face, like I was just joking, dude. That meant a lot to me. And he's like,
a good dude.
And he's like, I just can't believe how you were able to handle that. I'm like, what am I going to do, dude? What am I going to do? My kids are healthy.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. And he's like, man, I wish I could handle things like you. And I'm like, hey,
you know what? Scott handles things very
That's
well.
What I was
he doesn't
saying.
Give himself enough credit because, like, Scott's very similar to all of us, and I've begged him to come on here. And one day he'll be comfortable enough to come on.
Yeah.
Me and Scott hook up we met at Pete's at the wrestling program. Scott moves to Farmingdale. His son and my son are the same age. They're like 2 weeks apart. So all their athletics are together. So they're at wrestling together.
Rocco.
Football, we started flag football at the same time. Me and Scott coached 2 undefeated seasons in a row.
No big deal. Undefeated team.
We're moving up to 7U now, but I spend a lot of time with Scott. And over time, the last few months especially, he's been there a lot for me without me asking, trying to find solutions for things I'm going through.
He's such an amazing soul, dude.
Yeah, and he's like unshaken by shit. He's positive and calm and collected. I've never really heard him raise his voice outside of being on a football field. And I want to get him on because he's got good shit.
That's great. Does he get fired up on the football field?
He does.
Good.
He gets very fired up on a football field.
That's the time.
Well, and it's great because I get fired up on a football field, and we play really well together in that regard, and the kids absolutely love it. And
That's great.
This year we're bringing our teams from Flag have merged, so we got Lou Riggy coming up.
I heard you guys got like 31 kids or something.
We have a lot of kids. No one really left.
Yeah.
Everybody loved the two different coaching groups.
I love that group.
So Lou Riggy's team's coming up.
Good.
Lou's an amazing guy.
Lou's great too. He's somebody else that should come on.
He should. He also is coming to terms with how amazing he is and that he belongs here.
Good.
Joe Grasso, who is coming on.
Yep.
And a few other coaches. And I'm really excited for the season. 7U football doesn't know what they're getting. We got 8 coaches. And we got 8 good coaches with 30 kids that all buy in, and the parents all enjoy it.
I love it. Jack Porter was just over with us last night. He came to the club.
I love Jack. I just I saw him yesterday when I left the hospital and I went to pick Max up at camp, and I saw Jack, Francis, Gavin. They were all sitting in camp hanging out, and this is my football team.
That's the squad.
They're the reason I have a chipped bone on the inside of my ankle.
There you go.
Now, going too hard at dodgeball.
So we had a parents meeting. We had a parents meeting Monday. And Dave does an amazing job with our group. And
everybody loves him.
Yeah, he's awesome. So he was like, yeah, I don't really get too fired up and curse too much. And I'm sitting in the back like, oh, me neither. I don't curse negatively at the kids, but I will absolutely curse out there. Like it's awesome. Yeah. It's awesome. It's so fun. And like we have a great group too.
But Gary Vee said it. Me saying "let's go" doesn't feel the same to me as "let's fucking go."
No, it's true. It kind of magnifies everything.
Passion. It's passion. So for me, it's okay. I'm okay to say that.
Too.
It might bother some people. I'm not cursing because I'm uneducated or don't have other words to use. That's how passion's conveyed for me.
For sure. But then, like, I also think about, like, Gary Vee's, like, the most extreme, and then Dion is the other extreme with not cursing. Like, sometimes I wish I didn't curse as much. Like, with my kids and stuff, like, I'll be cursing at them, and, like, I told you we have...
curse at all.
I know.
Not
I commend that a lot. I like that a lot. And I was leaning towards that on one side of my mind, like, don't curse. And then, like, ever since I planted that seed, every time I curse, I don't know.
You realize it. You're probably conscious of it.
I'm basically trying to, like I've said in the past, like, make sure that, like, my kids are going to be good when they're older. And, like, if they need to hear a little bit of cursing to let them know I'm serious, then, like, I need to figure out what Nate and Dion did to get their point across without dropping an F-bomb, you know? Like,
well, Nate, it's easy to figure out what he did. He's just a pure machine.
No, because they sub in a little bit. Like, I listen to Dion. He subs in some words. And I know Nate will say, like, mother lover. Yeah. Like, I could drop mother lover. Yeah, like, that's fine.
Nate's got a whole skill set behind him that he perfected while in the service. Yeah. So, like, if you ask him, he was leading troops
without cursing.
And not cursing.
That's wild.
Which is, like, unheard of in the service.
I can imagine.
So think about the strength it took for him to actually put that into practice at that point.
I know.
You know, I mean, he's a freak, though.
He's the man.
He's such a freak.
He's the man. He's somebody else who's been running and working out like crazy.
Yeah, but
he's trying to get chilled out.
Nobody who runs and works out take this the wrong way, but Nate is built different. Mm-hmm. Like, he might not run the fastest, but he ran, I think the one weekend he did 50 miles in a weekend. Right. Yeah. He came in with crutches. Yeah. But he did that 50 miles.
Yeah.
That's insane. But
that's why he's different, though.
Yeah.
Exactly.
See, I don't want to limit myself like that. That's insane. Maybe it's not. Why not?
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome, though.
There are no limits to him. If you ask him, if you say, because have you ever seen Nate?
No.
Big dude. People will say to him, like, how many push-ups can you do? And I've seen people ask him this, and his response is the same every time. All of them. That's the response.
That's it. Yep. That's it. Don't limit yourself.
Yeah, he doesn't limit himself, and honestly, I haven't found the man's limit yet. And we've been close for a while. There is no backpedal in him, and there's no quit. And not only does he not curse, This guy barely yells. He just, this is Nate.
That's it.
So, like, I can't even see him leading in battle because, I mean, he's been deployed a bunch. Just calm and collected, like literally all the time. Yeah, because he's seen real shit over there. You know, so
exactly. So he doesn't get fired up over whatever the heck's bothering us.
Yeah. When we get fired up, might not even move the needle for him.
Like I said, everybody's bottom is different.
That's
so
it.
Everybody's
same thing with the stress and everything else. It's like when you've seen all that on the other side of the world. Yeah. I mean, all we know is what we've seen so far. We've never been over there witnessing all that.
Guys like him or Mikey Corley.
Mikey too. I was thinking about it just
real
now.
Shit, and that's why their mindsets are probably a little different than mine. They
probably have this really immense, deep gratitude that they just feel every day, just for okay, cool, I'm here.
I made it.
Yeah. Where you're kind of doing that, you're setting the tone before bed. I think that's huge, and I actually picked up from Evan praying before bed, and I keep adding it in, and it really has. He was praying before bed, and then he was saying it helps me fall asleep.
Did you pray for that
mustache? Long and hard. That's how I grew in so nice.
I'm feeling the mustache.
Me too, dude. I love it.
Yeah.
So Ev was telling me that he was feeling bad. He's like, I'm praying before bed, and I fall asleep. So I took it as and I gave him whatever response. I'm like, hey, at least you're doing it, blah, blah, blah. I took that from him, and my prayers have been helping me fall asleep, but also help me wake up with better thoughts. And what I've been forcing myself to do for a while now is, it's going to be a great day. It's going to be a great day. It's going to be a great day. With whether my eyes are closed or open, set the tone right there before you look at the phone and have the world dictate your day. Yeah. So you're doing that stuff before bed, a little bit of gratitude.
Yeah, and also just to
wins
that point,
for the day. When I'm sorry, go.
We do. So I'll usually do it once every few days.
Okay.
They could be really small wins because again, this is I'm not unique. A lot of people are like this. I didn't know because you always think I'm the worst. I'm the only person who feels like this. Everybody does. But it's so easy to think about all the negative things of your day. But what about the positive things?
Yeah.
And those small wins start turning into bigger wins. And when I'm having what I consider a bad day, right? Because I'm focused on the two bad things that happen. All of a sudden I write some wins down and it's you got up early. You did a morning routine. You ate healthy. You took care of your daughter. I'm like, wait a minute. Why am I upset again?
This is a great day.
And it starts to build for me, it was a self-confidence thing. And there is a big difference between ego and self-confidence. For the first time in my life, I don't care what you think, because I actually, all I ever cared about my entire life was what you thought of me, because I thought so poorly of myself. But now that I actually have some self-confidence, I'm like, no, thank you. Thank you for not thinking I'm anything. Thank you for thinking, listen, I know what I am.
Yeah. Because
I do all these things every day. And it's good that we're talking about them for other people, but I'm doing with them whether I'm talking to you about them or not. That's what I do now. I do these things.
That's it. And I wonder if doing all that stuff, what I was thinking about is I think your bar is now set at a much higher level for adversity, down moments, a bad day. You were able to ramp up your normal or your frequency or the level that you're at. If you were still at the level that you were months ago or years ago, whatever it may be, some of those downward spirals could have really taken over, where now you've almost elevated your I don't even know what I'm trying to call it, but your normal now is all these things that when things come your way, you're not going to resort back to the bottom. You're going to resort back to, okay, this is my new, this is where I operate now.
The bottom's changed.
This is where I handle it. So you kind of leveled up, I guess.
Yeah, and the more I rewind, it's that's the other thing too, that Dave taught me a lot of, give yourself some grace.
Give yourself some grace.
My whole life one way. So it would be pretty crazy for me to think that just overnight, they're all going to become. So journaling was corny to me. I had to do it, and then I had to do it again, and then I had to do it again. Then all of a sudden I noticed a little change. I'm like, oh, maybe this isn't so bad. It's now I don't go a day without it. And on vacation, this goes into twofold, right? We talked about the last time I was on, how I would have to get dragged off the bathroom floor to go on vacation. I went to Florida. We talked last month, I think it was. I'll tell you one thing. I walked myself to that car because of the change. So nothing changed outwardly. If anything, I think I added another business. So I was busier than I've ever been, but internally everything had changed. My emotions have changed.
Right.
Mentally I've changed. Spiritually like I've always just believed in God, but like there's a difference between believing in God and seeking God. Like I'm seeking God and getting the answers now.
Good.
So all that extra stuff, like that anxiety, that worry, because it was never the work that tired me out. I thought it was. I get done now in like 3. This is a little embarrassing to say. I always thought I was a really hard worker. Like I work 12 to 14 hours a day. I put in time. The 12 and 14 hours, the amount of work I get that done in like 2 now.
Solid.
Maybe 3, because the other 10 or 11 hours were, oh God, I can't do this. Oh God, I'm scared. Oh God, I'm tired. Oh God, I'm miserable. Everybody's going to find out I'm fake. You take that away and all of a sudden you've got a lot of time.
A lot of time, a lot of productivity.
I'm just knocking things out. Before 6 a.m., I'm done with all my emails. Like,
that's awesome.
All right, what's next?
That's awesome.
It's just a total, it's a total change. And all I had to do is follow a blueprint. Like somebody gave it to me. I didn't even have to like, here it is. Try it. You get these promises. Don't try it. You could stay where you're at.
Hey.
Listen, you don't have any downfall to trying new things if they're positive, or if it's worked for someone else. No one's going to tell you like, here, try this heroin. It's going to improve your life tenfold. But somebody could say, hey, try journaling. Maybe it unburdens you enough that you see some benefit.
And I could
try
say,
a cold plunge.
Trying heroin will not make your life better.
Yeah.
Personal experience.
Knows firsthand.
But journaling might. So get a fucking notebook and start writing down how you feel.
That's it. Journals over drugs.
Yep. Yeah, I'm going to make a t-shirt. That's going to be copy.
That should be-
There's
that should be
always
your
something
hashtag
clever.
on
Journals
there.
over drugs.
There's always something clever that comes out of here. When Dave was here, we were saying getting high on dope mean.
Yeah.
And that was what we wanted to say a t-shirt too. Maybe we need a whole t-shirt line.
Are you guys going to be so mad at me when I make it rich because I copyright it all?
No,
I'm
bro.
so
We'll be happy
happy
for you,
I'll
dude.
put you all in
We'll
just
be
for
happy
telling
for
me
you.
about that. Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's great.
There you go, Billy LLC started up.
We get Matt Reg on the phone. I need
There
some
you go.
support with the LLCs.
Exactly.
If you guys don't mind, I'd
No.
like to try and wrap this up, though, because I do have a prior commitment that I have to get back to.
Definitely, buddy.
Maddie, I love that you were here today. I'm sorry it was a kind of scattered episode and we talked a lot. And
I thought it was great.
a little pressed. I didn't mean to end it short.
No.
But I got to get back to my dad. Guys, as always, please reach out to any of us with questions. Shoot us an email. And Matt, you got anything in closing?
No, I just want to thank you guys again for having me on. It was short notice, and I was kind of thinking the same thing. I don't know how much everybody else lived, because we're starting to get so close that like sometimes I feel like
This was conversation.
This was
We're gonna look at this later and all get a laugh, and I think people will enjoy it. But it's
Yeah.
like,
It was just
we were
real
just shooting the shit at this
conversation.
point. Yeah, it was just
but
3
that's the
friends
goal
talking.
We do.
Yeah.
I needed to unburden myself today, and not with my baggage, just sit with friends and chop it up.
Bro, that was literally, all right, so the last point. When we used to go over to Certified and talk like every Friday or whatever, and we started saying, oh, hey, we should get videos, we should get cameras on this. Like, that was really where it started.
Yeah.
And then you went to the hospital, so then we said, okay, we're going to try to help guys navigate life. So the real thing was to just like chop it up and talk amongst the boys. The second thing was to be able to help people navigate life. And the third component that I think we're going to be leading even heavier into is spotlighting people in the community that are like selfless and make a positive impact on others. Because there's like a lot of coaches that we're friendly with, and
that do
a lot
a
of
great
these
job.
And that's the thing. And it's like, not to give them necessarily a pat on the back, but like, hey, don't be a selfish SOB, and like, this is what it looks like.
It's a thankless job being a youth sports coach as well, or coach at any level. What did Vinny say? Coaches, high school wrestling coach makes like $6,000, and all the work, all the stress.
Divided by the hours, you're in the negative.
Yeah, I
You
mean,
get a pizza at the snack stand.
it
You got
takes
to
a
put gas
special
there.
person to give back like that.
100%, man.
Maddie, thank you for coming in. Guys, please click the links, like, share, subscribe. We're here every week trying to better ourselves. Hopefully somebody's taking it a little bit of what we're saying here for themselves.
We are.
For sure. And a lot of you don't know who Big Tom is, but Tom, if you watch this, I'm giving you a shout out right now. Tons of inspiration. This kid is down 100 pounds, in the gym, eating clean, is consistent with his job right now and crushing things. Tom used to be our sound engineer. He was here, and he is figuring life out right now. So, Tom, here's your shout out. I'm proud of you. I love you, and I'll talk to you soon. Guys, tune in next week, and we'll see you then.
All right.